This is the number one way to avoid sensitivity in veneers. And it's not gluma or an expensive material or technique or anything. It's doing basically what you're doing, but there's a slight variation that will make it so that your veneers or anything that you're bonding doesn't come out as sensitive. The first thing to go over, which is really important for dentistry, is where this information is coming from. Because I've personally seen this work, but I've obviously not done enough veneers or fillings or bonded restorations to have the ultimate proof of this working. And in dentistry especially, this is really important because there's so many things out there and it's so hard to scientifically prove that one thing's better than another, right? It's not like your wireless provider where you can prove which one's faster. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and some things work better in the lab and some things work better in a mouth, and then there's too many variables to really definitively know which one's better. Just like Oral-B and Philips will both say that they are proven to be the best, all of the different bonds will say that they're proven to be the best. So it's important to know where you're getting your information from and knowing that it's not always going to be 1,000% right, but trusting it enough. So this information is coming from Dr. Magne, Duval, and Dr, who I believe are the best in the business at bonding and veneers. And so they all practice the same thing and they do this same technique and stress the importance of it. And there's the science to back it up. And so what this is handling your dentin, how you're handling your dentin. The first thing, obviously, when it comes to sensitivity in veneers or whatever you're doing, is that there's always a chance that there's going to be sensitivity. And obviously, the less invasive you are, the better, right? If you can keep your veneers in enamel, obviously they're going to be less sensitive than if you prep through to the dentin, right? So it's not a foolproof thing. You're not going to you can't prep to the pulp and expect to not have any sensitivity. And some people are always going to be more sensitive than others, but this makes it drastically reduced. And this isn't necessarily specific to veneers, this is specific to bonding. So whether it's a filling, whether it's an onlay or an inlay, whether you're bonding your crowns, or whether it's a veneer, this is important whenever you're bonding to dentin. So when you have freshly prepped dentin, the most important thing is to not dry it. This is something that when I learned it, I was so upset because it's such an easy technique to do, and I had just gone my last 5-10 years without doing it, and I was upset that no one had ever told me this before because it's so easy and it's so effective. And it not only makes your bond stronger, it makes them less sensitive. So when you prep your dentin, you've prepped your veneer, you've prepped your filling, whatever it is, you put your phosphoric etch on there for 5 seconds. That's it, 5 seconds for dentin, right? If once you're actually seating the veneers or if you're etching the enamel on a filling, it's different. But for the dentin, for the prep appointment, you're putting your phosphoric etch on for 5 seconds, washing it off with plenty of water, and leaving it wet. So there's many ways to leave it wet, but you want to leave it very wet. Not sopping wet. It can be. It's better to be sopping wet than dry, but you want to just leave it wet. So what I do in one of my offices, the one that I usually practice at, we have a very strong suction. So my assistant will just put the high-speed suction up. It'll suck off enough of the water, and I'm good. At my other office, the suction isn't quite as good, so I just blast it with air and water coming out just to get the most off, and then it's good there. Dr. Rosenthal, for example, will use a cotton, and he'll just dab it with a piece of gauze. I don't love that idea because theoretically we want the dentin tubules to stick up, and pushing down on it isn't the greatest thing to do, but he's had much, much longer term success than anyone probably watching this video. So it's definitely okay to do that. But we want to keep it wet. Once it's wet, we get our bond, whatever it is. They mostly all work. I'll put another video up with the exact materials that Duval and Appa use so that you can follow exactly what they do, because that's what I personally like to do. I don't like to be the one to experiment with new materials that the company is saying is better, but obviously they're saying is better. So I like the ones that have been proven through time, proven by the best, proven to last, proven to look great. That's the ones that I trust. I would rather trust Appa and Duval than my Patterson rep, right? But you put whatever bond you want on there, and you just lightly move it around for 20 seconds. The dentinol is already wet, and you put it on and just lightly move it around. Some of them say you can scrub, so you can, but you just need to lightly move it around. If you left it sopping wet, then put some more on, right? Put some more on there so that you're diluting your water. Then you can air dry it and even put more on again if you want. Once that's on there, then you can fully dry it. So I use a two-step. I'll use the Dentin primer first. I put that on, rub it around everywhere, right? The edge is already rinsed off, rub that around everywhere, and then you can fully dry it, right? Then you just fully dry it away, and then I'll put my adhesive on, rub that around for 20 seconds, getting a couple layers of that, dry that, and cure it. So you don't need to be using a two-step material. You don't need to be using Gluma or any other desensitizer. Magne, Pascal Magne, who is, in my mind, the person who knows the most about materials, bonding, biomimetics, all of that stuff. He's dedicated his life to it. He doesn't use any desensitizer, and this is the only reason he doesn't have sensitivity, because he's not drying the dentin. And so this is the same philosophy whenever you're in dentin, whether it's your veneers or your fillings. And it's such an easy thing to do. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't force you to go and buy some new materials. And when you see the amount of decreased sensitivity that you get, you will be so upset that they didn't teach you this in dental school, or they didn't emphasize it enough in dental school, because it's very, very easy, and it's very, very important and very effective. If you want to get a notification when our materials videos come out, or when all of our videos come out, subscribe below. And we do offer online clinical and practice management training that'll teach you everything from start to finish on how the best in the world are doing it. And the links for all of that will be down in the description below. Hopefully this helps, and if this is new to you, I am so sorry that you are just finding out right now.